The Salpa Line, or its official name, Suomen Salpa, is a bunker line on the eastern border of Finland. It was built during the interim peace between the Winter War and the Continuation War to defend Finland against a possible Soviet invasion. The line is 1,200 kilometers long, stretching from the Gulf of Finland to Petsamo in northern Finland. It never saw military action because the Soviet offensive in 1944 was stopped at the VKT-line on the Karelian Isthmus. The fortifications of the Salpa Line were much stronger than those of the Mannerheim Line. Construction. The construction of the Salpa Line began in the end of the Winter War in 1940. At first, the volunteers worked there, then people ineligible for the war service were mobilized. The maximum number of workers on site was near 35,000 in the spring of 1941. After the beginning of the Continuation War on the 25th of June 1941, the fortification work was stopped. Pillboxes and bunkers were stripped of armaments which were sent to the front. As the tide of the conflict turned and the front began to approach the pre-war Finnish borders in early 1944, the work on the Salpa Line resumed and continued until the end of the Continuation War on the 4th of September 1944. Line composition and terrain: 728 various concrete installations, 315 kilometers of wire obstacles, 225 kilometers of anti-tank obstacles, 130 kilometers of anti-tank ditches, more than 3,000 entrenchments, 254 concrete infantry shelters, trenches, riflemen's cells and dugouts composed the power and strength of this defense line. The line even employed old 11 and 9-inch coastal mortars from the late 19th century, due to unavailability of more modern artillery. Numerous lakes, marshes and small rocks were also incorporated in the defense line. For example, the Lake Jniemenmaa area is a labyrinth of lakes of varying sizes, islands, straits and rivers, making the area very easy to defend. 90% of all the concrete installations of the Salpa Line were on the line between the Gulf of Finland and the Lake Jniemenmaa waterway system. This part, as the original post-Winter War defense line, was also referred with the name Luumäki Suomen Linja, or simply as Luumäen Linja. Impact on the war: the fortifications were never used in combat, because the Red Army was stopped at the end of the Continuation War well before its advance units reached Salpa. The line was partially manned with old reservists in the summer of 1944. However, the existence of the fortified line was an advantage for the Finns in the subsequent peace talks. Present day, the remains of the decommissioned line are currently undergoing renovation and serve as a tourist attraction. On the southernmost part of the Salpa Line, a museum, Salpa Linja Museo, has been founded in 1987 by the Mihinkylä municipality and the Second World War veteran organizations. Gallery, maps, Kymenlaakso and South Karelia built-up cultural environments of national importance refers to the official classification of the National Board of Antiquities of Finland. The references refers to a clickable map link. Southern Savonia, North Karelia. History: some of the Salpa Line objects dates back to the Winter War. In Lieksa, Viisik and Salpa Linja Itisama was started to build already during the pre-Winter War extra-military training period. The name Viisikko refers to the name of the village and can be translated as the Five. The other names of the village are Hat of Herrera are just Hatu. The battles in Hat were related to the battles of Lieksa from the very first war day, the 30th of November 1939 to the 27th of December 1939. The Soviet forces attacked against the Viisikko positions on the 9th of December 1939 and it had to start to withdraw. on the Christmas day. The other place where it has been battles during the Winter War was on the Inankainen and Puru Lake areas. In the very first war day, the Soviet troops tried to capture the Kiviranta border control post just after 7 o'clock in the morning, but the prepared and reinforced Finnish border troops succeeded in slowing the speed of the attacking forces, and only by the evening the Finnish border troops had withdrawn to Anninkainen position, where the positions of the 13th Separate Battalion were. The Finnish counter-attack took place the next day, the 1st of December 1939. The 13th Separate Battalion was assisted by the 12th Separate Battalion, which had come to He place. Both the battalions attacked until the Soviet troops stopped them on the crossroad of Hatasalkanen. Then 12th Separate Battalion occupied the Anninkainen position, while the 13th Battalion was withdrawing, driven by the Soviet troops to the Nurmijärvi of Lieksa. The Laklajärvi position was missed almost without the fight. The delay action actually started only the 2nd of December. The Soviet troops started harassing artillery fire the 3rd of December and continued to do so for 5 days. In the first days of December, also in Kumo, the Savakka road crossing was lost in Kumo, which made it possible for the Soviet troops to go the Nurmijärvi of Lieksa to the backside of the Anninkainen defenders. The 13th Separate Battalion held the positions, and the 12th Separate Battalion was ordered to withdraw to Puru to reinforce the next possible defense position about 4 kilometers back. The mortars of the 12th Battalion were left to reinforce those of the 13th Battalion. In 4 days, the 7th of December, the Soviet troops succeeded to take the front positions of the Finnish troops, making it hard for the 12th Battalion to keep its positions in Anninkainen region. The same day, the Finns destroyed a big Soviet patrol and learned that the Soviet Infantry Regiment 529 will cover the southern side of the attacking Soviet Division 54, which was to go to Kumo. The reinforced 529th Regiment consisted of 6,000 soldiers added by 40 cannons and 20 tanks. The idea had been to occupy Lieksa in the Independence Day of Finland and then go to Nurmes 10th December and then towards Kajaani. The main target was Oulu on the west coast of Finland, to cut the country into 2 halves. On the 8th of December, 13th Separate Battalion was allowed to withdraw from Anninkainen to Nurmijärvi through Puru positions, delaying by almost a week the Soviet troops in front of Anninkainen provided time for building the new positions in Puru. Places other. Near the Puru Lake there is a memorial plate attached on the granite stone with the text TAALLATAISTELTIIN 9-25.12.1939 to commemorate the Lieksa battles, Kainuu and northern Ostrobodnia Lapland.